It's a strange thing in the world of the British monarchy, there's always somebody ready to tell a story. And, some people might say, well, Neil, you're no different. You broadcast every day, bringing us, of course, all the latest news from the British monarchy. Some good, some bad. Sure, you'll all agree. But the things that always make me smile are the fact that certain stories that then become, shall we say, folklore, which how can I put this? To be kind may have simply been misconstrued, and I would suggest that this is simply one of them. Regarding, of course, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, currently holed up in the London Clinic, in the very heart of London, just past Harley Street, but nonetheless, you might think a little bit bored. Well, apparently not. She's kept busy by looking at things online, particularly all the work that she has to do with her charities. Nothing like that bit of rehabilitation for catching up, is there? But there's one story that I wanted to correct simply because, of course, it has now become something of a folklore, and I wanted to share it with you because, as ever, our community, our chums here on this show, you can make your own informed decision. As ever, let me explain. Hi, morning. How are you? Nice to see you today. Yes, a bit windy on this area, isn't it? I know. Yes, yes, it could fly off. It's like Eric and Ernie, isn't it? The little wig. It's not a wig, by the way. He looks like a wig, doesn't he? I know, but that's the weather. And when you put a hat on and you have that static, have you noticed that? Flies everywhere, doesn't it? The story I wanted to simply share with you because it is, as I say, regarding the Princess of Wales. And recently there was a book, a rather splendid book, all about His Majesty the King, written by the esteemed author Robert Hardman. Done a lot of credible work, some might suggest, over the years. And as I say, this book is certainly well worth a read. He does sort of debunk many myths that have gone on inside the British monarchy over the last few years. Of course, the debacle of Lilibet, the name, which really started off a lot of, shall we say, media interest once again, not necessarily in the most positive light for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, starting in 2024. And of course, some people might say, oh, it's a great authority, the sources are wonderful, etc. Well, they are until you get down to a certain point, and one of them is simply this. You see, when you think about it, and I find this incredibly strange, you look at these particular stories, literally at the bottom of one of the stories was, oh, by the way, Princess Catherine reads the Mail online, and that's from good authority. Now, let me just place this out to you. The particular book was being serialized in the Daily Mail online, right? And obviously, Mr. Hardman's publisher, Mr. Hardman, works for the Daily Mail. It's beneficial, isn't it, to associate that particular story with your employer, Now, what I can tell you is this, that there is no way that Catherine peruses the Mail online on a daily basis. What happens, the true story behind that is, her team go through the stories of the day that are relevant to her, particularly the coverage that perhaps a charity visit has got, or a pending thing, or something like that. But because, of course, of all newspapers' digital platforms, she doesn't want to see anything that she finds disturbing, not necessarily going to brighten her day. You know where this is leading, of course. Doesn't necessarily want to be put into the bit of a miserable start to her day by looking at headlines about her former chum, some might say, Meghan Markle. It is a bit of a stretch that this particular author is putting forward that the Princess of Wales peruses the Mail online. More importantly, what she has from her team is simply this. You've got mail. The things that are presented to her from the Daily Mail and the Mail online only are relevant to what she's actually doing in the public domain. As ever, happy to share this with you. Love to know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. Neil Sean in a very windy central London.